Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Why, hello. What is going on, everybody? And happy Friday afternoon. That's right, this is the Club of the Man 1993. And despite normally, lately, I haven't been doing most videos till later in the week, depending on how busy I am, I can say that I'm back. I'm back because, again, I was out of town for a few days, well, since Sunday, and I got back late yesterday afternoon. I was away on a business trip for a few days, second one I've went on this year. I was in Atlantic City, New Jersey for a few days, staying at the Harrah's Resort, going to a trade show my company was taking part in that I work for. And it was a nice few days away. It was hard, as it's the first time I was really away from my wife since we moved in together. And also I was excited because I had just gotten my new car last Thursday also. So, and then today I ended up getting an extra day off because with all my hours at the show, and of course with driving also, I was told that I fulfilled my 40 hours for the week. No need for any unnecessary overtime. So they gave me an extra day off. So I have a 3-day weekend. And as promised, while I was away, I was going to make graphics. I also didn't finish, but I was editing some other stuff as well that I've been trying to get to the channel, some shorts. I have a couple other little small videos I may try to do as well. But I got a lot of stuff done in my spare time on the side while I was away because I brought my laptop and did some editing with me. So hopefully in the next few days you will be seeing some more stuff get posted. Such as, again, I have a short on Zoe Stark that is very late, but, you know, it's one I've been wanting to do. The shorts from the top 10 worst matches 2023 edition, those are all like all the fat's been cut off of those, but I just gotta like dress them up, so hopefully I should get those done over the weekend. This morning when I got up, I did record the last year of my next Roller Coaster Tycoon video. Gotta edit that one still. Hopefully maybe by the end of the weekend we'll have that one available, and a lot of other things. But as promised, I was going to do a stream when I got back. Originally, there was just 2 topics for it. Now there is 3 topics for it, which will be in between the 2 longer topics. And the second one is kind of me breaking my little rule I just recently made for the channel. But I think it's very big that I do got to comment on it. And also, all 3 parts of this stream will be broken down into 3 separate videos as well. This is one of the rare times I do that. But it will be broken down just so I can, people who only watch this stream for certain things will get to watch it. Because it will be a longer stream probably. Maybe about an hour, who knows. But, yeah, I just want to get caught up. Because, again, I was... One of them I should have done 2 weeks ago. But I got busy with getting ready for my birthday. Then after my birthday, I wasn't feeling well for a few days. Then I had to travel. So we're going to get some of the big topics caught up right here, right now in wrestling. That's why it's called DaMan's Triple Threat Wrestling Stream. And also, I thought I'd do this a little bit later today because I know some people are probably working today, but so far we just got Tyler, which is totally fine. And we'll just roll from there. So again, hope you're all doing great. Hope you guys are having a great start to the beautiful October month. It's been so far with good weather. Well, a little bit of rain here. There was no rain in Atlantic City, but yeah, and we will go from there. So before we get started, of course, let's check the live chat and say hello to, well, just Tyler so far. He says, "Hi, Mike. I don't see Fastlane to be good." He doesn't see it. we'll talk about it. I got like my mixed feelings about the card. I'm glad so far it looks to be a smaller card. I don't see any other matches becoming official for it. I have a little problem with it though. But of course, again, we will talk about it when we get to it. So before we get to that though, the first topic is in discussion. It has to do with back 2 weeks ago, September 21st. And another one took place the following day, September 22nd. My birthday, which was my 30th birthday. I can't believe I'm 30 now. We're going to talk about some releases. Now, I kind of like clumped some together because there's some that I really don't have too much to say. But since the WWE did the TKO merger back on September 12th, there were a lot of layoffs. And most of them were behind the scenes people, which I get because when you're merging companies together, you don't need all employees. But also, it just sucks to see these people lose their jobs. But of course, we're going to focus on the talent, the wrestlers themselves that got released. Because of course, we thought a lot of them, everybody was saying, because there was rumors a couple of months ago there were going to be some happening before July 1st, which did not happen. But we got some here. Now, here's a disclaimer here. Most of them I can say, again, I am not happy anybody got released. Especially also since they're bringing in Jade Cargill. And which I don't hate on that. But if you can bring Jade Cargill in, and if you can bring back Nia Jax, then, or also Brian Pillman Jr. recently announced they signed him, then why are you still releasing talent? Like, WWE right now, like with this merger and everything, is doing great the way it is. So why do they have to release wrestlers? I mean, yeah, a lot of these people weren't really doing anything. Most of them, that is. Not all of them. Some were still, like, one was supposed to have a pay-per-view match at NXT No Mercy this past Saturday. Why did they release him in the midst of that build? We'll talk about him shortly. The only reason why I would say I'm happy is because some of these people have been stuck doing absolutely nothing in the company for the longest time. And now they are set free to do whatever they want to do. I still think, though, it was wrong of them. And also, don't forget this. They announced these releases also right after they announced that SmackDown is moving to USA next October, in a year from now. And they're getting, like, what, $1.4 billion from that? So once again, you got all this money. Why are you still releasing talent? Especially if you're bringing some people in. You know? But we'll talk about them. Like I said, there's there's two that's like, two graphics are like a big clump that I don't really have too much to say. The ones I have more to say about were like kind of like more separate ones. So we'll get into that and talk about those. The first one is just the NXT releases. I didn't really know most of these people, of course, that got released, so I don't have much to say. But of course, here's the four. There's four in this graphic right here. But most of these people are like no names I don't really know of. The first one is Alexis Gray. Don't know her. Brooklyn Barlow. Bryson Montana. None of these I'm familiar with. We do have Dabba-Kato, who only time Dabba-Kato really got a spotlight, as far as I know at least, was when they had Raw Underground during the pandemic era. And then he was briefly Commander Aziz whenever they turned Apollo Crews heel and made him that Nigerian prince when he was feuding with Big E. That unfortunately went nowhere. That's another name I'm glad they didn't, because again, I'm not wishing anybody to lose their jobs. I'm very surprised Apollo Crews was not released. Because again, they called him back up from NXT in the draft to Raw, and he's only had, 2 matches on TV? He's only been on TV twice. So why they called him up and doing nothing with him, I don't know. But yeah, Dabba-Kato was Commander Aziz. Then I guess he went back to NXT just as Dabba-Kato. But it sounded like they were doing nothing with him. So, it is what it is. Daniel MacArthur, don't know him. Ike Manjiro, which I was cracking up because that name, again, sounds a lot like my last name. Or, of course, when I first saw his name when he was in the Breakout tournament 2 years ago, I was saying Ike Manjiro. That sounds like so familiar to my last name. He got released also. Didn't do much to him either. I thought he was in a feud with Scripps, who's formerly Reggie, like whatever they're doing with him. So him I knew a little bit because he came in right before I stopped watching NXT. Kevin Ventura Cortez, who Quincy Elliott, who Yulisa Leon, who Abadi Fitzgerald, who and Melanie Berzinski. Don't know any of them. But those are all the NXT releases. Most of them I don't think we're getting really TV time. Other than, again, Dabba-Kato, Ike Manjiro. I think Quincy Elliott was getting some, because wasn't Quincy hosting like a Halloween Havoc with Shotzi Blackheart or something at one point? I can't remember. Yulisa Leon. I know she's gotten some TV time also. But the other ones, I don't really know. I do wish them the best, though, and hopefully they find something down the line. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember, NXT talent only have a 30-day no-compete clause. Which, of course, I think that was exposed whenever Aleister Black got released, and they never changed that clause in his main roster contract when he got called up to the main roster. But, yeah, those are the NXT releases that happened on the 21st. Now, for main roster, again, here's, like, the ones I don't have much to say about. They're all grouped together. So first, we've got Aaliyah, who has not been seen on TV, actually, since last year, whenever her and Raquel Rodriguez dropped the women's tag titles. Apparently, she was injured. And then after that, she just was never brought back to TV. She was doing a lot of like photo shoots I saw, but it didn't look like they were going to be going anywhere with her. Which is sad because I did always like Aaliyah. Most of the time when she was in WWE, though, she was in NXT for a long, long time. And usually she was always used as someone who was like an enhancement talent to eat pins. But I always did want to see them do something more with her. And the times where they were like giving her a little bit of a direction, she was pretty good. I did like when she was that heel alliance with Vanessa Bourne, I remember. And a couple other times, she showed she's got something. And they called her to the main roster. I think they were teasing a little love story with her and Dolph Ziggler one time or something. I don't remember. But yeah, they never really did much after that. I do remember also last year she had a match, I think her first main roster match was against Bayley on Raw. I do remember that was not one of her best showings, I remember. But most of these people I can see maybe going to Impact. I'm sure if she went to Impact, though, she would fit in well in there because the Impact's women's division is doing awesome. So I could definitely see her going there maybe. But, of course, we'll see down the line what happens there. So I do wish her the best. We do also have, because we haven't seen them for months, the Maximum Male Models, Marseille and Mansoor. Or, of course, Dio Madden or Mace. And Mansoor was originally Mansoor. Now, both these guys... It sucks, because I was actually interested to see the direction they were going in once Maxine Dupree started trying to recruit Otis. And instead of keeping the Maximum Male Models a thing, they pulled the plug on them, and they had Maxine just go with the Alpha Academy. Which, has not been bad in the long run, but it just sucks for these guys. Dio Madden... he was on commentary for a little bit. Then he got put in Retribution. We'll talk about that when we get to their leader, who also got released in this group. And then he was at the Maximum Male Models, which literally was just LA Knight, because Vince McMahon thought LA Knight was too old and was almost fired, which I'm pretty sure he would have been released by now if Triple H never took over. It was literally just like two other people on SmackDown who had literally nothing else to do that was given this random package. And I just, honest to God, did not really care. But again, he definitely got some like the bad rap. You know, he was a big guy. Seemed like he had potential to him. I'm not going to completely crap on him. Then there's Mansoor, who basically was only really used whenever WWE went over to Saudi Arabia for like Crown Jewel or Super Showdown. The only time he was ever really featured was those events. And the few times he was featured, like, he was a good talker. I thought he was pretty charismatic in the ring. He had good chemistry in the ring. They just found nothing for him to do. So, bummer for that as well. Again, both of them probably would go to Impact. I can't see them really, stand out anywhere else. Maybe Impact. We'll see. Who else do we got here? Of course, we had to drop a graphic. We do got Mr. Rick Boogs. Now, I did not read into this, but apparently Mr. Boogs claims his career went downhill when Vince McMahon left. So it sounds like he was a Vince McMahon guy, but not a Triple H guy. Of course, his best run, no doubt about it, was, he appeared on NXT one time. I forgot what his name was. It was very goofy, but he had character to him. And people saw that and actually were like, yeah, give this guy a shot. He was, for a while, tag teaming with Shinsuke Nakamura, and they were a fun duo together with, his electric guitar and just basically helping Nakamura get some momentum back whenever Nakamura was the face again back in, 2019? 21, I think it was? I think it was 21. Because WrestleMania 38 was when him and Nakamura wrestled for the tag titles, but Boogs hurt his knee during that time. They brought him back on Raw. Then he was drafted over to SmackDown. And I think the last time we saw him was when he had a random tag match with LA Knight. But he is someone else I could definitely see fitting in really well in Impact. Maybe in AEW eventually. But again, he's got something. So I do wish him the best. They just weren't really using him in WWE. Which, of course, is a shame. We have Shanky. I'm sorry, I just really didn't care for Shanky. He was Jinder Mahal's henchman at one point, or Balder Mahal, which, by the way, where the heck did they go? They were pushing into Sheer like crazy. Now they haven't been on TV for months. Even though, 1 week after they've been on TV for 3 weeks, they have vignettes. Maybe whenever Triple H rolled back in a little more power when Vince McMahon was gone on medical leave for a little bit, maybe Triple H pulled the plug on them. I don't know. But yeah, we haven't seen Shanky for months. But the last time I saw him, he had that stupid gimmick where he would hear music and he was possessed and he'd start dancing. It was god awfully horrible. But not surprised, but I do wish him the best. Don't know where he would go because he didn't really stand out to me that much, but we'll see. And the last one on this little clump here, before we get to more of the individuals, is Top Dollar from Hit Row, Shit Row, as my wife calls them. First off, I will say, I am very, again, and once again, I said against the stream, not wishing anybody else to lose their jobs. I am very surprised, though, all of Hit Row didn't get let go. Because, I'm sorry, again, I did love Hit Row when they were around originally, but without all the pieces to the puzzle, it doesn't work. Like, they couldn't get Swerve back. I mean, I can guarantee you, if Swerve wasn't in AEW, kicking butt, like he's doing awesome right now with the Mogul Embassy. He just got a big win over Hangman Adam Page at Wrestledream this past Sunday. Had they would have brought Swerve back, I think this group would have worked out. But they didn't have Swerve, and it never worked. And then, of course, when Top Dollar was Flop Dollar and botched that dive or whatever the heck it was, it's just been all downhill for him since. Like I said, I'm very surprised they didn't release B-Fab and Ashante the Adonis as well. B-Fab, I feel like, can maybe do something on her own. Ashante the Adonis, though, I just don't see him being a single star. They were giving him a little bit of a spotlight as a single star on 205 Live at one point, but he didn't really get my attention until Hit Row formed originally in NXT. But Top Dollar, who's already advertised himself as just Dollar right now on Twitter, I honestly think he should go to AEW and join the Mogul Embassy and reunite with Swerve. Which, again, of course, all of these guys don't have 9 no-compete clauses, so they can't go anywhere else yet until, like, January. But I say go with that. Go with that, and he'll be fine. I just can't really see him being anything more than just someone else's heater. He could prove me wrong, though. But, again, go to AEW and join the Mogul Embassy and reunite with Swerve. Because, again, when Swerve gets, like, a group together like he is now, he really kills it. He is one of the best. So I do hope that's the direction that Dala goes next. But yeah, still surprised not all of Hit Row got released. Again, I'm not wishing it, but I'm a little surprised. So those are some like ones I didn't have. I mean, I said a little more than I thought I would about these guys. But those are some that I didn't have as much to say as the rest of these. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more releases to talk about. There was one I put them both together, though. But let's roll and talk about it. First one, Dana Brooke. Now, when I was making these graphics, I completely forgot Dana Brooke was released. And it's been a while since we've seen Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke was actually back in NXT. And I think the last time I really heard about her, she had beaten Cora Jade in a kendo stick match. And we haven't seen Cora Jade since. So I'm wondering if she's just chilling until she gets called up, which I hope she gets called up soon, because I do think Cora Jade, Braun Breaker, and Carmelo Hayes, and Roxanne Perez as well, while I'm at it too, should all get called up, I think. I'm surprised they aren't here, because now this feels like they're just treading water down NXT. Well, Carmelo Hayes just lost his NXT title, but like Cora Jade and Braun Breaker, like what? I mean, Cora Jade's never won the NXT Women's title, and apparently Jade Cargill's going straight to Raw, so why is Cora Jade still there? She's ready. Braun Breaker, why is he still down there? He's ready. I mean, I get it, they're giving him a heel run right now, but he's basically just down there treading water. Carmelo Hayes, he's ready. But anyways, I'm sorry. Off that topic, back to these releases. Dana Brooke, yeah. It's been a rough road for Dana. Similar to like Apollo Crews, I thought she got called up way, way, way too soon. I think what happened was, the idea was they wanted to put her and Emma on the main roster together. As a duo, her and Emma were great together. I wish they would have reunited them at some point while Emma was there as well. Which, speaking of Ms. Tenille Dashwood, we'll talk about her in a second. But when Emma got hurt in 2016, they then put her with Charlotte Flair. Okay, fine. But the moment she split from Charlotte, even while she was with Charlotte, it was obvious that Dana just was not ready for the main roster. And in 2019, it was revealed apparently, because there was like this one writer or something who got released and basically was like exposing a lot of things from behind the scenes. Apparently, Dana Brooke is one person who worked so hard and was always like the first person there, always trying so hard to get better. And I appreciate that, but it was just never clicking for her, unfortunately. And I feel bad because I know she tried. She really, really did try. It just wasn't working out for her. And her going back to NXT, not a bad idea. But obviously, they didn't seem they were going to invest further in her if they didn't keep her. Which sucks, for sure. I definitely see her going to Impact. Definitely Impact. I think that's the right place where she should go right now. I don't think she should go to AEW. She would get lost in the shuffle right now. But Impact, she could benefit from it. They have a great women's division there. I think she would benefit from it. So there's Dana Brooke, who got released. The next one is actually a grouping because in real life, they are an engaged couple. And of course, I do feel bad that both of them got released at the same time. That really, really sucks. Especially since Emma just came back a year ago. She just got back. Oh man, I felt so bad. And these both of them just recently got engaged. And well, first to start with Riddick Moss. First off, I still will not forget that horrible theme song to his horrible joke gimmick that was just... Him and Baron Corbin were such a terrible duo together. Again, they was... And this whole thing with like Madcap telling these jokes that just were not funny. They looked like 5-year-old kids like laughing on TV at like some of the most stupid and immature things. Like, if anything, they were both Vince McMahon's humor, basically. Just Vince McMahon laughing at his toilet humor, basically, on live TV, unfortunately. And, of course, they split him up from Corbin, and they tried to push him as a babyface, and it just never worked. It never did. I mean, and then there's Emma, who got brought back last October. She had her return match against Ronda Rousey, and they did absolutely nothing with her after that. She was in catering most of the time. Like, when they announced releases were going to be coming a few months ago, I had a bad feeling Emma would be one of them. That's a shame, because I love Emma. Emma, I feel like, is just so underrated so many ways. She's talented. I'm sure a lot of people think she's attractive. I mean, well, I also think this. Bring her back as a babyface. I mean, they might have done it because people do like her. I still feel like she's at her best niche as a heel. Because if you remember when... Well, they were kind of forming like a storyline with her and Riddick. Doing like having their relationship on screen. And at first I thought they were doing it just to kind of give Riddick a rub. Which also, I forgot to mention this too. Apparently Paul Heyman was really big on Riddick Moss also. Which is why they were teasing, giving him pushes at times also. Keep in mind also, don't forget this. He squashed Ricochet. Like, the first Raw after Ricochet got squashed by Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown in 2019, I believe it was. 2019? Or was it some other pay-per-view? It was right before WrestleMania. I think it was 2019. I can't remember. No. It was 2020. 2020, yes. Because that's when he was the WWE champion. And it was right before he dropped the belt to Drew McIntyre. That's when it was. I got it now. But yeah, it just never worked for Riddick. And then Emma too. Again, getting back to what I was saying. Right around the time where Riddick got that Intercontinental title shot against Gunther, there was starting this thing where Emma was blaming the crowd that Riddick didn't win. saying he was a superstar. I think the direction they were kind of going with that, it was kind of interesting. They were kind of teasing them transitioning to heels, and this whole idea of being this thing where Emma's like, no, you are a star, but it was this person's fault. Could have been some interesting television. That could have maybe worked. But again, they just pulled them both off screen, and we had Emma take on, I think, Shayna very recently or wherever it was. But yeah, like, again, I think they were trying to use Emma's popularity, Tenille's popularity, to rub onto Riddick. And also, what I also feel bad about, 1 hour before Emma got the call she was going to be released, she was hyping up the announcement also of Elimination Chamber going to be in Australia, her home country, and how excited she was for that. That is just heartbreaking. Honestly, they could have given her some, if they would have built her better, they could have given her some type of a rub in Australia. Heck, they could have reunited her and Dana Brooke as a tag team. I don't get why they never did that in the first place whenever Emma came back. Yes, they had just turned Dana face. I know that. Because remember also they had her do the Emelina thing and it didn't work out, even though it took her weeks to get there or whatnot. But they could have done that. They could have had Emma and Dana Brooke reunite as a tag team and still done something with Riddick Moss. But again, the fact that both of them got released at the same time, while they're engaged to be married also too, just really sucks. I think both of them would probably fit in well in Impact. I mean, that's where Tenille was before she came back. So she'd go back to Impact. I'm sure she'd excel there. Eventually, I could see her in AEW. But not yet. Again, I'd say make another stop back in Impact for a bit. And then eventually make your way over to AEW. That's where I would go with Emma. Riddick, again, I'd say Impact, maybe AEW, but we'll see. I think he still has work to do to win the fans over. But we shall see whenever it happens. So, awesome. Who is next on the list? Oh, yeah. Hello, I am Elias. Elias was also released as well, which also means so was Ezekiel. And of course, right after he was released, Elias did tweet on Twitter that he in fact was Ezekiel, which, that was no lie. We knew that was for a fact. And I also still, even though that was just a weird little joke, it was kind of working. I also still love Kevin Owens' outburst. You're Elias! No, I'm not. You're Elias! And he shows up as Ken Owens on Raw. That was some underrated good stuff. But it just didn't feel like it had like a huge long-term effect on it. But yeah, Elias though. They had something with him. And yes, I never really saw it being like a main event thing. But maybe a good mid-card thing at least. But I remember when they were teasing a call-up for Elias from NXT. And I wasn't really a big fan of him in NXT. I didn't really think he had much to him, if I'm being honest. But then, I remember I heard this interview from Triple H. He did mention that there were some people he felt that was more meant for the roster and not so much for NXT. At the time, too, when NXT was at its best, it was purely a wrestling show. It was not so much of like a sports entertainment show. And he said, and one of the names he mentioned that he thought just was more fitting for the main roster and not so much for what was going on for NXT, one of them was Elias. And on the main roster, he got over. Again, the simple, act of playing on the guitar, being a musician, was to get him over. I think he definitely could have been like, if booked right, he could have been a Mr. Money in the Bank. I think he definitely could have been at least a mid-card champion, maybe a world champion eventually. I didn't see it yet, but I thought he just definitely deserved some type of title. Even though, like once again, as everybody says, though, it's like he was a character gimmick. In the ring, yeah, he needed work. He needed a lot of work in the ring. I mean, when he was Ezekiel, I remember his his pay-per-view match at Hell in a Cell in 2022 against Kevin Owens. That was a solid match. He was pretty solid in that. But I even also remember he had a match with Roman Reigns during that 6-week reign, no pun intended, when Roman Reigns was Intercontinental Champion. I remember during that period, he had a match against Roman, and it was actually a really good match. But I think his in-ring ability was still holding him back. And also, they were just going back and forth with him, with his character. Like, he was a heel, then they made him a babyface, which the first time he turned him face, I still love that segment where he was sitting on the ramp, and he called, and I think in the ring was Bobby Lashley, Lio Rush, and I can't remember who else it was. I think it was a third person in the ring, but Elias on his phone calls and goes, "Hello, I am Elias." It was like the first time he did his like intro since he turned face. And he says, I'm trying to call Child Protection Services. There's a little kid in the ring. Like he was funny. He had a character to him. But again, just WWE just did not know the direction to go with him. And of course, they completely tried to just cut the legs completely off of his character after they had him lose to Jackson Riker. Ugh. And then he was gone. He came back as Ezekiel. And then when Triple H took over, they brought him back as Elias. But then Vince came back. And he was a free agent. And we haven't seen him since the draft. So I'm not surprised. But it sucks. Because he was definitely a great act to have on the show. He was different. And I think he just stood out. I definitely think he should go to Impact also. I mean, most of these releases, I would say Impact. Some AEW. Some of these bigger ones, AEW. But Elias, I feel he would fit in more in Impact. But we'll see where it goes. From a fellow Pittsburgh, from another fellow Pittsburgher as well. I wish Elias the best. We have 4 more left. This one was a little bit of a shocker to me. But then again, I'm like, they weren't really doing much with him. But obviously, he still feels like he's got something left in the tank. Shelton Benjamin was also released after a 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3. No, longer than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6-year return, if I'm calculating right. Or, of course, as the Usos dubbed him, Shelton Benjamin. Man, once again, another underrated Hall of Famer probably. He's had a great career. Tag champion, United States and Intercontinental champion, I believe. ECW champion, I think, as well, if I'm not mistaken. But he never won a world title. Which recently, I listened to a recent interview a few months ago with Chris Van Vliet. It doesn't bother him he's not been a world champion. He is proud of the career he has done. And he's definitely been a mentor to a lot of other people, like who he won the tag titles with this time around, Cedric Alexander, which there goes definitely a complete Hurt Business reunion. I wish we would have gotten it. I wish we would have gotten the Hurt Business reunion. Because they literally split them up while they were one of the hottest acts ever because they were afraid that Drew McIntyre would get booed at WrestleMania. Oh, gosh. But now, of course, Bobby Lashley has his new group, the Street Profits, which we'll talk about when we get to our Fastlane review later, or preview later. Anyways, yeah, it sucks because again, Shelton has been a great contributor, but they really, he got brought back. Well, he was supposed to come back in 2016 when the brands will return and be on SmackDown. He probably would have been in like the mid-card title picture or something like that. But then he hurt his shoulder, I think, and they didn't bring him back until a year later when they had him team up with Chad Gable. Which I liked him and Chad Gable as a tag team. Then they split them up, though, randomly in the 2018 draft. I do remember I was kind of hoping they would have done more so because they put Gable on Raw and kept Shelton on SmackDown. That actually would have been a really good match. Chad Gable versus Shelton Benjamin one-on-one. I think I predicted that at the Backlash pay-per-view, I think, following that. I think I did. What's it called now? But yeah, after that, like, he really didn't do much of anything. I mean, well, it was exposed to me also during this time that he used to be really good friends with Brock Lesnar. Because I think they got him a little bit involved in the Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins storyline, I think, before WrestleMania 35. And of course, also the other thing he did really well was he was in the Hurt Business. He was excellent in the Hurt Business. Him and Cedric were a great team together. And then they got obscured to absolutely nothing. A lot of people think he should go to AEW and join the BCC. That actually would be kind of interesting. I mean, someone else, he's 48 years old. He still can wrestle. He'd be a great little addition in there. I wouldn't mind just giving it a shot. So yeah, like I said, someone else that WWE just never gave him the whole thing, though. He could have been a world champion for sure. I mean, I didn't expect to happen this time around. I mean, even though I didn't see much of his run beforehand. But I think if you, like, before 2010, well, he got released, I think that year, or wherever he got released originally. I still think back in his prime, which he's still great. I feel like I'm dissing on him. He's still great. I still think, though, at some point you could have put in a world title on Shelton Benjamin. And it's unfortunately not going to happen. But yeah, I think WWE misused him for sure. But again, put him in AEW, have him be like a legend. Like, I mean, hey, think of it this way: they don't have Regal anymore. Why not have him be like, you know? Even though we do have Bryan, well, I don't know if Bryan still is in the BCC or not. I don't know, but we got Mox, Claudio, Wheeler. Have like Sheldon, like kind of like, I mean, he'll still wrestle, but kind of like fill Regal's spot that's been missing in the BCC. Something like that, maybe. So that's one person I do think AEW should try to pick up is Shelton Benjamin. Or Shelton Benjamin. So, awesome. All right, 3 more releases left. The next one is Mustafa Ali, which this one surprised me only because he was like, what, a week or two away from a pay-per-view match at NXT No Mercy against Dominic Mysterio, which I do wonder if Ali was going to win that, since Trick Williams won it but then lost it back to Dominic this past Tuesday on NXT. I wonder. But yeah, I was surprised they released him now because of that. But again, he is somebody that I'm kind of happy that he's free, but like I said earlier, I didn't want to see anybody lose their jobs, but I'm kind of like glad that he is free, because he, for crying out loud, could have been so much more in the company. Of course, apparently, there's a rumor been going around, and now that, well, once his 90 days are up, he can probably talk about it. But apparently Vince McMahon pitched a very, like, controversial gimmick to him that he apparently walked out on the meeting on. I can only imagine what it was with how immature Vince can be. Especially also how he tries to portray certain people's elements and whatnot, which, again, I'm being very careful when I say this. I don't want to come across offensive here. I really don't. But I do kind of hate how Vince McMahon just like sees some of these people as like they give them the attention where they're trying to get the business overseas and whatnot. Because Mustafa Ali, besides 205 Live, from 2018 until he got moved to SmackDown in 2019, I still remember, I think it was just Alex who said it on one of his reviews. At that time, on 205 Live, Mustafa Ali was, and I agree when he said this, he was like the 205 Live, the Cruiserweight Division's Shawn Michaels. And I think I even remember too, I mentioned if Shawn Michaels would ever come back for one more full run, well, he did come back, Crown Jewel 2018, and I still have not watched the match, but I know it was horrible. But I think at one point I did a list of dream opponents for Shawn Michaels. I think Mustafa Ali was number 2 on that list. Because I do agree with how he could be like a Shawn Michaels. I loved his gimmick of the heart and soul of 205 Live. A guy who just sold like crazy. He was an awesome seller. And on the Chris Jericho, on his pod, he was on Talk as Jericho in 2019 when he got moved over to SmackDown. And Vince told him the one thing that he saw in him was that he was really good at giving the crowd empathy. He was really good at that. I like that Vince saw that in him, but of course they never kept going with him. But anyways, he was on 205 Live. He was definitely one of the biggest stars of 205 Live whenever Triple H was writing it in 2018. And then, because it was like him, Cedric Alexander, and Buddy Murphy also, who were like the 3 biggest names on the show. You also had the Hideo Itamis, Akira Tozawa, Drew Gulak, a few others as well, but he had some awesome matches. I still think my favorite one was in July of 2018. It was a no disqualification match against Buddy Murphy. Again, like Ali, sold like crazy. He's one of those guys that got the hell beat out of him, but he was always fighting back. And they were teasing that coming back last year whenever Triple H took over. And then for some reason, they turned him heel. He had that positive Ali thing. That was a Vince move there. I hated that. Of course, also, I didn't hate it as much as being the leader of Retribution. But props to Ali for that. He busted his ass trying to make that work. The promos he was even cutting, those backstage promos that he would cut, I remember, with the little effects and whatnot, they were so well delivered. Retribution, though, was just one of those stables that it was dead the moment it walked in the door. The moment you heard the names, the costumes they were in, it just looked like a ripoff of other SWAT team people. Especially also when they gave them contracts storyline-wise. For no reason. But also, if you remember too, he was going to get a world title push in 2019 when he first moved over to SmackDown. Because originally, as we all know, Kofi Mania was not supposed to happen. That was supposed to be Mustafa Ali. Well, first, it was supposed to be Kevin Owens when he came back from his injury. Because he was supposed to, I think, return for WrestleMania and dethrone Daniel Bryan there. But then they won. Bryan's biggest goal at that Mania was he wanted to put over a big baby face. And Vince wanted it to be Mustafa Ali because he wanted an Arabian to be champion going into their Saudi Arabia show that year. Which, again, I said before, bothers me that they were literally only just using him for profit and then just going to squander him. But then Ali got hurt, and then they gave it to Kofi Kingston instead. Which, that's also a match they should have done at, I think, when Ali was either splitting from Retribution or still with Retribution. They were teasing a feud with him and Kofi. That would have been a great, like, would have been a lower card match, but that would have been a great, like, sleeper hit for WrestleMania. I think it was 37, I think that would have been for. That would have been an awesome match. Him and Kofi Kingston and Mustafa Ali. But, of course, they didn't do it. But anyways, but yes. But also, I think if they would have given Ali that push in 2019, he would have been rejected. One, again, because people want to see Kofi Kingston. But two, not everybody watched 205 Live. So not everybody, like me, knew who Mustafa Ali was. And they were going to give him this rocket ship push. And, of course, that's kind of good they didn't do it there, so he probably would have not gotten over. But give him credit also, because another favorite match of mine that's completely underrated is that triple threat match at Fastlane 2019. Him, Bryan, and Owens. Awesome triple threat that was. And even though, of course, he ate the pin, that ending spot was still awesome. Ali went for, I think, an 054, and while in the air, like performing it, Bryan hit him with a flying knee, which was an awesome finish to a very awesome, again, underrated match. If I ever did another list of hidden gems, that would definitely be on the list. That was a very underrated world title match. But also, let's also mention this, and I've talked a lot about Ali already, but he did request his release, I think, what was it, last year? And they didn't give it to him, of course. And, of course, I think his contract was supposed to expire next year. But, of course, WWE released him on their own terms. Which, again, is unfortunate that, they try to control his narrative. But, yeah. As far as where he goes next, again, the sky is going to be the limit for Mustafa Ali. He could easily, if given the proper material, he could be the face of a company. Like, I can see him going to Impact. I can see him going to maybe New Japan. I would love to see for him to go to AEW. Like, he's someone else I wouldn't be surprised if AEW went for, but I feel like he might need just a little bit more, like, a little more footing, I think. Like, given the opportunity that he needs before he goes to AEW. But he will be great wherever he goes next. Again, I'm glad he's been set free. I hate the fact, though, that he lost his job again, though. I still hate the fact that they teased us last year when Triple H took over, bringing back his heart and soul thing, which they were teasing a few with him and Seth Rollins also. And then he became Bobby Lashley's punching bag as Positive Ali. And I was like, ugh. But, yeah, he is definitely going to be great wherever he goes. So now we are down to the final two. This next one was somebody that didn't get released until the day after, on my birthday. But I'm still going to talk about him here, of course. And I'm kind of not surprised. Matt Riddle, which I still think on this list is the biggest name, but the only reason why he wasn't the last release I talked about is because I'm kind of not surprised that they released him. A few months ago, it was mentioned that the WWE wasn't intending on pushing Matt Riddle anymore. I think it was right after he had lost clean on Raw to Ludwig Kaiser. They weren't really planning on pushing him because of his troubles outside of the company. Because I think recently he had some altercation with a police officer at JFK's airport, and he hasn't been on TV after that. It was just for a couple weeks. He was involved in some sort of storyline with him and Drew McIntyre teaming up, which, again, could have been involved with Drew McIntyre's possible heel turn. I don't know. I still don't know yet if they're actually going to turn Drew heel, or if they're just making him this more aggressive baby face, whatever you want to call it. But I love Matt Riddle. He is talented. Yes, when Vince was there was times where he there were times where I felt that they were making his character way too corny on the main roster. I mean, in NXT, he was awesome. I still, of course, even though it was very awkward, of course, especially when they had like the graphics at NXT TakeOver Portland. But first off, I did love his run with the Broserweights, him and Pete Dunne in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. But there's always the famous, it's official, guys, everybody. Bobby Fish just said fish. How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? I do wonder that. But no, that was hilarious. Couple other good ones he had. I loved his run with Randy Orton as RK Bro. But like I said, there were definitely times where they definitely had his character very, very corny. Also, let me explain this also too. I loved when they were having a more like serious Matt Riddle last fall before he got hurt, when he was feuding with Seth Rollins. That segment on Raw where he had that interview, the split screen interview, where they basically were attacking each other about their families. Oh, that was awesome stuff. I wanted them to keep rolling with it. But then after the Fight Pit match, Extreme Rules, they kind of just went back to goofy Riddle, like wherever he was before. And I was like, yeah, that's off. But again, I do understand that from what it sounds like, his troubles outside the company were kind of like interfering with, you know, what he was doing behind the scenes. So again, I'm kind of not surprised. Especially when I heard they weren't planning on pushing him anymore a few months ago. I'm like, okay, he's probably getting released. But whatever he's putting up with, I do hope, he, is okay. I do hope that he gets things figured out. I do think AEW would pick him up. I think he would be, he's another person I think would be an excellent, excellent fit in AEW. But again, I do think he has some things he's got to get taken care of first. And he has 90 days until he can wrestle somewhere else. So again, I do hope for the best for him as well. And finally, I think the biggest, Matt Riddle is still the biggest name on this list. But the one that shocked everybody, even me somewhat, the one that shocked everybody was Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler was probably the biggest talking point coming out of these releases. After 20 years with the company, 1,900 matches or whatever the heck it was. Again, he has been with the company for the longest time. And again, he's somebody else that is, like I said, again, I'm not happy these guys got released. I've sounded like a revolving door saying that. Or I'm sounding like a record saying that. Whatever you want to say, clarify it as. But again, this has been somebody I've been waiting for the longest time to be just set free. Because he is way too damn good to be paid to be the world's most expensive jobber. And I listened to an interview with him as well recently with Chris Van Vliet. He does his stand-up comedy. He basically said, I am totally cool with doing stand-up comedy and being paid a lot of money to be the world's most expensive jobber. And I'm like, really, Dolph? This is somebody that, again, could have been a world champion. Easily could have been the face of the company. And every time you thought they were going to pull the trigger on him, they pulled the plug. He was hot like crazy when He was originally, of course, wasn't he like Chavo Guerrero's caddy or what? I think didn't Chavo have a different name in that gimmick? But I think he was originally his caddy. Then he was in the Spirit Squad as Nikki. Then he was Dolph Ziggler for all those years to show off. He was having a lot of great like mid-card title matches. I mean, he's like what, like an 8-time Intercontinental Champion, a multiple-time United States Champion, 2-time World Champion. The first time he really wasn't champion for that long ago, maybe like not even a day or whatever the story was when Vicky Guerrero and him were a duo. But once again, like the guy could tell a story. He could sell his ass off. He was just that good, but they never capitalized on him. He, of course, was Mr. Money in the Bank in 2012 with the help of AJ Lee, and he was in an on-screen relationship with her for a while. He beat John Cena at TLC 2012, well, again, with help, of course. Had one of the best cash-ins the night after WrestleMania 29 when he cashed in on Alberto Del Rio. And he even told the story like how he wanted it to kind of be like that suspenseful moment where they were going to like make the crowd fear that he wasn't going to do it. Because again, Dolph was the heel in that match, but he was treated like a babyface. Of course, which led to a double turn with Del Rio becoming a heel again, which again, I'm still never ever will respect that man. And Dolph Ziggler came to face, but then Dolph got a concussion and they had to pull the title off him. And then he was given world title shots after that, but again, they had jobbed him out so much that you knew he wasn't going to win. You thought in 2014 when they had him be the one to survive Team Cena versus Team Authority, be the sole survivor, put him over big time, gave him the Intercontinental title again, and again, just didn't capitalize on him. They didn't. I'll give him credit too. 2016 it was? Yeah, 2016, right before WrestleMania 32. It was in Pittsburgh. Here, I remember. He had an outstanding match on Raw against Triple H. That was also a dream match I had since he was involved with the Authority. And it was a phenomenal match. Could have main evented a pay-per-view. We had that. We cannot forget, I think, the last, excellent feud I think Dolph ever had was in 2016 when he feuded with The Miz. That career versus title match at No Mercy 2016, which, by the way, should have main evented that pay-per-view. Because that triple threat world title match they had with AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and John Cena, which was also awesome, that only opened the show because the debate was on that night. And they did, but I think they main evented with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, which, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt, of course. But I think that match should have main evented that show. That was a freaking awesome match. Then, of course, they pulled the belt back off and put it on Miz for Survivor Series, and then he lost to The Miz in a ladder match at TLC. And then after that was when they finally turned him heel. And I remember when they turned him heel at the beginning of 2017, I'm like, let's go. But that's when Ryan Ward got, I don't think he got demoted, but I think he was given, they gave Road Dogg the head writer's spot on SmackDown. And basically, he had just turned heel just because people were for real losing interest in him. So why have him get cheered anymore? I mean, he was already starting off good as a heel. He had that segment with Jerry the King Lawler that was just that one where he basically reminded Jerry when he had his heart attack and what he did to him earlier that night and whatnot. Again, he could do it. He had some great matches still. He got squashed by Goldberg at SummerSlam, but he sold his ass off for that big time. He also had that match at Extreme Rules 20. Well, it was the horror show, and it was a horrible show, Extreme Rules 2020, where he got to pick the stipulation, and it was Extreme Rules for him only and whatnot, which was a genius move there. Also, give him credit there. I did like his run when him and Drew McIntyre were briefly a team. But again, it's just like this guy could have been a headliner for WrestleMania. Should have had even more world championship runs behind him. A credible world championship run. And again, just the WWE just treated him like a joke. It's unfortunate, like so much so that once again, I get even he understood what they were trying to do when they put the NXT title on him when they briefly had him taken off of Braun Breaker. But did anyone actually believe Dolph Ziggler was worthy of being NXT champion when they gave him the NXT title also? Because I really didn't think so. But I feel bad for Dolph. But I'm also happy that he is free. And again, I think, he can keep continuing to do his stand-up comedy. Well, of course, he'll probably go by his real name, Nick Nemeth. But he is also somebody I think Tony Khan needs to call and bring in AEW. I don't think he will be the face of the company, but I think he will put on, it'll be like how Shawn Michaels was. I mean, I get it. It's not going to feel much different than when he was in WWE. But he's a guy that could put on a great quality pay-per-view match with a Kenny Omega. Or a Hangman Adam Page. Or even him and Swerve. Heck, him and Bryan in 2014 had a couple of good matches on Raw. Run that back again while Bryan's still here. Because Bryan's just about done also. Who else could you do with him? Him and Adam Cole. Him and MJF in a promo war. Heck, if him and Miz were cutting great promos in 2016, if MJF goes back to being a heel, have him and MJF have a feud. That'd be pretty darn awesome. There's a lot he can do there. Like I said, I don't think he would be the number one guy in the company, but I think he'll definitely draw in an audience. So he is somebody that I do hope does go to AEW. But with that being said, guys, I have completed one of the topics. And I talked for I said this stream's going to be an hour. I only did the first topic in 1 hour. So we're going to be here for a bit. Now, here's the thing. I am going to put this stream on hold for 1 second because I did put my phone in the room. In the other room. And I do see that a certain somebody is in the live chat. So I do want to check something on my phone really quick. So let's take a very, very quick break for a minute. And I'm going to come right back here. We'll check the live chat. And then we're going to move on to topic number 2 for this triple threat stream. I'll be right back, guys. All right. So again, we're not done yet. We got a few more topics. Wait a minute. I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, so that's where I got to go after that. Number 10. It was there. Okay. So, get back here. But before we move on to the next topic, let's check the live chat. And I'm glad I did grab my phone because it was in the other room charging because I didn't unpack my suitcases from my business trips. I didn't have my charger last night, but I had my phone charger a bit. But I saw somebody was in the live chat, and I figured that they may have left me a voice message, which they in fact did. Which I will wait for a second or two to do that because I want to read what we got in the active live chat right now. We had, because Tyler wished me a happy birthday, thank you. We had Mark, thanks for joining us, Mark. I'm doing great. How about yourself, man? We also have Charlie Kelly saying, Dabba Kato looks like Damian Priest. Brother. Kinda yes. With the way the hair and the mustache was, I do kind of see it. Who will face Roman at WrestleMania? Cody or The Rock? I don't know. I really, really don't know. I keep thinking it's going to be Cody. But The Rock just made an appearance. And I think there is a chance, maybe, just maybe, he makes a full appearance. Maybe. We can see him having that match. So I want to say possibly Rock, but I'm still going to say Ben, same Cody. Mark said, I can't believe Ali got released right before he was supposed to be having a championship match. Me neither. Like I said, I didn't get that at all. And again, I still wonder if he was supposed to win the title since Trick Williams won it for those few days. I hope Jey Uso can get a world title push soon. I'm thinking maybe after his story with Jimmy is done, we could see that happen. Maybe. We'll see. I'm surprised they only released one member of Hit Row. Again, so am I. They shouldn't have released Ziggler. He should have been one of the top guys WWE all these years, and they wasted his talent. That is for sure. WWE needs the Iconics back. Under Triple H, definitely. I think Billie Kay's still pregnant, though. So, probably not yet. But I think both of them aren't really focusing on wrestling right now. But you never know. They could come back, but I wouldn't think right now would be a good time, like I said, because Billie Kay is pregnant. But we could. Could CM Punk go back to WWE now? Edge is going to AEW, although the only thing that I can see CM Punk doing is feuding with Roman, as he is too big of a character over everyone else on SmackDown and Raw. Ugh. Like I keep saying, I know the rumors. I'm hearing he'll be back at Survivor Series. I'm hearing he'll win the Royal Rumble and Cody will dethrone Roman at the Rumble, and then we'll have Cody versus Punk at WrestleMania, which again would be a good match. I just still think, again, my personal opinion, which first off, I'm sticking to, I'm not going to believe CM Punk is show up in WWE unless it actually happens. But I still don't think he should go back. As much as like years ago before AEW existed that I wanted to see Punk come back, after having him come out and when he debuted in AEW, basically saying that he left pro wrestling, which, okay, it's kind of true because AEW was more of a pro wrestling company than a sports entertainment company in general. But still, it just feels like he would look like a hypocrite if he went back to WWE. I don't know. I personally think, like, again, if he would go back to WWE, I wouldn't hate it. But I also know that he's just that much of a controversy today for a lot of other people. And I've already given my opinion on CM Punk and his run in AEW and, you know, where I stand with all of that. I get it. I'm not talking about it anymore. I am done voicing my opinion about that. I just still think him going back to WWE at this point is just not needed. I don't think it is. Like, I'm good. Like, I got my return. I got all this. I hate how it ended. But I think, again, like, Punk going, like him doing his MMA commentary, I think it is where he's his happiest. He could do movies. I just think maybe it's time I'm good. I'm okay if I don't see CM Punk wrestle again. Like, I'm satisfied. I got to see him come back. I got to see him have good matches. I just think that if he comes back, it's going to be a bigger controversy, and he'll look like a hypocrite, in my opinion. So I don't think CM Punk should come back. LA Knight is lucky because of Triple H saving him, and he is over as hell. Yes, for sure. That is 100% true. Is R-Truth, though? I think he is being wasted. I wish he gets a push and is actually used rather than just for house and dark matches. It's a shame. He'd be a great champion. Would love to see him more. He got injured on NXT, I think like a year ago or something like that. We haven't been seen since, but I agree. Like I said, I did not like R-Truth until he started doing that stuff with Carmella. And then, like before, I thought he was annoying. Then I found him funny. But like he's someone else that he's never going to be a world champion. I would like to see, because I think they teased when I had that segment with him, Paul Heyman, and Brock Lesnar. I would have loved to have seen a little mini feud with him and Brock, to be honest. But hopefully he'll be back soon. I think he will be back soon. Tyler says, good riddance for Riddle and Ziggler. Why haven't the Undisputed Tag titles changed to one belt yet? Yeah, I don't know why they haven't either. It's very clear that they're not splitting those tag titles. Matt Riddle, I can't believe that one of the biggest talents would have loved to see him win a world title at some point. That was a bad one to get rid of. Like I said, I would love the two, but I also kind of get that the WWE just felt that they couldn't trust him. So like I said, give him a few months, get things in his life, figured out that's going on, and then go to AEW. Is Drew going to turn heel? I have no clue. Will JD join Judgment Day at some point? I'll save that for when we get to Fastlane. And we got the man in the house. Since I see his name, I'm going to first play his message and hear what he's got to say first. Let me pull this up. Go to Instagram. Go to my... Oops, not here. Go to my messages. And I got this from the one, the only, the king of sound style, my good friend, Robbie One Kenobi.
Mikey! Hey, man, I know I've sent some messages in the live chat that you've yet to get to. I know I tagged you in the Zoe Stark and Nia Jax stories from the Super Show I went to over the weekend. Thank you for your reactions.
Before we continue on again, that's my Zoe Stark short. I'm hoping it's one of the shorts I'm hoping to have uploaded within the next few days.
Great to see you live streaming again. Had to send this out to you, man. Again, congratulations to you and Ashley on your wedding.
Thank you.
I wish you the best for your marriage. And I want to give you some John Cena wisdom as you move on.
Uh-oh.
Now, as a married man, keep this in mind, bro. I wish you and Ashley the best, of course. And there's going to be a special time in your life that you need to take advantage of. And just keep one piece of advice in mind. I say this respectfully because you know I got your back, bro. You know I love you. But when this special time comes, remember what John Cena said. Don't be shooting blanks there, son.
Oh, God. I'll have to show my wife that one later. Hopefully there's no ball tap on that. Well, of course, also, funny thing is my wife does love The Miz. My wife is that big of a fan of The Miz. I'm not even joking. She did recently get his My Balls Are Massive shirt. And she wore it when we went to Payback in last month. She wore that shirt there. Oh, gosh. That statement of, what are you firing blanks down there, sport? Oh, man. But don't worry, Robbie. That ain't happening. Anyways. But we got him in the live chat. He says, Mikey, the fact that you're going all out for us a triple threat stream today, I think we need to just find that moment to dig deep down and say, thank you, Trish. Definitely. And thank you, Robbie, as well for that, too. Emma was wasting. She should go back to Impact as well. Yes, like I said, eventually I would like to see her go to AEW. But not yet, because again, she would get lost in the shuffle there. Who will Paul coach after Roman? Imagine if he goes with Jay. That would be quite a swerve if he did. I don't know, though. We'll see. Rob says, Super Show in 2020. The same show where, oh yes, Goldberg beat The Fiend for the Universal title. Huh? Yeah, that's when everybody says the world started to fall apart. Which is kind of true. How did Cody and Jay get a tag title shot? I don't know. There really is no story to why that happened, but we'll talk about that, of course, in a little bit as well. Rob, his Elias on the main roster was practically Jeff Jarrett 2.0, smashing guitars over people's heads, which I still never understood that. Again, in NXT, when they destroyed his guitar, Elias had a meltdown. Why was it okay on the main roster, though? Especially the dreadful Elias and Jason Jordan guitar on a pole match. The next one to interrupt me is a dead man. I was at Raw. That was the awful night after WrestleMania 35. Raw after WrestleMania 35. And yes, that's when The Undertaker made an appearance on the Raw after WrestleMania and attacked Elias. I was there that night. I saw that live. Ollie always got up. I'm not sure where you're even going there with that one, Tyler. No joke, Mike. I believe the proposed gimmick Ollie rejected had something to do with 9/11 from what I've heard, but I don't know the complete details. Like I said, maybe we'll hear about it soon. Now he'll probably be able to talk about it. Of course, then again, I think a lot of people are still wondering what happened with John Cena and Alex Riley, but I think we still haven't gotten that yet. Because I think even on podcasts, Kevin Kyler, or Alex Riley's real name is, I think he said that will be saved for another time or something. Did we ever hear that story also? Hashtag no disque match. No disque match. Oh, you're making fun when I said no disqualification. No disque for 2K24. Oh, gosh. We still got some more. Unfortunate what happened with Riddle. While not the biggest fan of him, I like his work at NXT and WWE. But hopefully he can get his personal issues sorted out and bounce back. I do agree. It's good to see DIY reunited. Yes. I'm glad they did that on Raw. Except, of course, it got cut off when they're about to do that. The meet in the middle, or how they call their finisher. I was so mad when that happened. Because I did get to see, when I was away in Atlantic City this week, I did get to see the last 40 minutes of Raw. My wife taped it, and I got to watch the whole thing last night when I got home and catch up on TV. See here. Tyler still wants the tag title split. I still don't think it's happening. So there's not big of a division for it. So I'm okay with them keeping the tag titles together. Rob has Mike just realized this Monday marks the 1-year anniversary of the White Rabbit conclusion and epic return of Bray Wyatt. Still, Cyril is no longer with us to celebrate it. Oh God, yes. Man, that's still so sad. Which, by the way, also, well, it's hung up on the wall. But for those who over there, I don't want to pull it down. But for those who do follow my here. Well, no, I have my microphone plugged in. Well, I'll try. Up there on my wall is the merchandise that I purchased. Because they were saying that all Bray Wyatt's merch was going to be proceeds to the Rotunda family and whatnot. And that plaque I received a couple weeks ago, which was when Bray Wyatt first won the world title at Elimination Chamber. So I definitely wanted to show that. DIY should be the ones to dethrone Judgment Day. They could, yes. I still, though, at some point think you gotta do DIY versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like, that would give me vibes of, like, DIY and FTR, or when DIY and Mustache Mountain collided at Worlds Collide in, like, I think it was 2020, I think it was. Oh, gosh, that'd be some great stuff. Bringing back Nia Jax was really, really, really stupid. Yes. Why is NXT and AEW trying to recreate the Monday Night Wars? Like I said, NXT, I think, is all... I mean, AEW is only going to be on Tuesday this coming week, I think, because of the playoffs, I think it is, on baseball, for baseball. I think because the Braves usually are sometimes on TBS. So that might be why it's on Tuesday. I can't remember what the idea was. Real quick, I recently signed up for StreamYard in case you ever want to reunite and do another live stream, cough, cough, fantasy booking. We definitely got to it sometime, Robbie. Again, I think what was hard before Ashley and I moved in together, what was hard is that my weekends were mostly spent with her, so I wasn't home. But now, of course, that we live together now, it frees up my time. And hopefully, with a lot of things in the rearview mirror, hopefully, again, I keep saying this and it never happens, but hopefully my life settles down. But we do definitely have to do another stream together sometime. Maybe it's as simply as, like, where are we as far as, like, you know, our wrestling, you know, fandom lays at and what we're watching and this and that. Something like that. And, of course, some fantasy booking as well. But we're an hour and a half into the stream. And I'm still surprised that this is not done. But we're going to keep moving. We're going to move on to the other two topics shouldn't be as long as the releases. Well, this one only is one because there's just one thing. The next thing I want to talk about. I'm breaking my own rule here. So, last month, again, I was just getting so sick of all the WWE and AEW drama. I was sick of, you know, with the whole thing with CM Punk getting fired and all this other stuff. Again, I've had my opinions. I'm done talking about it. I just need to get away from AEW. I mean, again, I still watch AEW, but to me, it's still like that thing where it's like, I want to kind of enjoy it off to the side on my own and not have to make it into a project right now. Again, the drama is just all over the place. But I had to do a video talking about this. So, I did not watch Wrestledream. I mean, I was interested in seeing Swerve and Hangman. And I was definitely interested in seeing Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. But I didn't watch it. I also, again, was traveling that day. So I didn't get to see it either. But, of course, I did keep my eye out, as, of course, I've heard the rumors rumbling for a while. But after the main event, which was the 2 out of 3 falls match with Christian Cage, which, don't mention the status of your fathers to him, as by the way, and Darby Allin, where Nick Wayne turned on Darby Allin, and he was involved in a 3-on-1 beatdown. Sting came out and tried to save him, but then he got beat down as well. Just for us to get the AEW debut of the WWE Hall of Famer, Edge. And of course, he is known as in AEW, Rated R Superstar, Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland, that's right, is all elite. And I wanted to give my brief thoughts. Also, I will say I did watch this week's episode of Dynamite. He had his segment where he, of course, said, and you know, he said it best. He just had so much more to do here in AEW. So many fresh matches, which, of course, the biggest one that I want to see is him and Kenny Omega. And I also liked on Dynamite how they had a segment where he reunited with Chris Jericho. And I think from what I heard, it for real was the first time he ever met Kenny Omega. Which was awesome as well. But again, that match has to happen. Like, Edge cannot retire now. I'm sorry, I used to say his name. Even MJF messed up in the media scrum. Adam Copeland cannot retire until 2 things happen. 1, he reunites with Christian. And they have a tag run together. Even win the tag titles. Heck, them and FTR, them and the Young Bucks, them and the Lucha Bros, money matches right there. But him and Christian reuniting, and they gotta do him and Kenny. They gotta do him and Kenny. But basically, he mentioned, you know, the very fresh opportunities he's got in AEW. And, again, him and, he mentioned also that, he was told by his daughters about him being with Christian. And basically Christian came back out and basically says, go F yourself. And he's having his in-ring debut, which he is full-time also in AEW. He apparently is going to be on Collision tomorrow, which I'm not going to get to watch because I'll be watching Fastlane. And I don't watch Collision anymore because I just don't think it's worth it. But next Tuesday, he's having his debut match against Luchasaurus. And probably Full Gear, even though they're having Swerve and Bryan next week one-on-one for the number one contendership for the TNT title. But Full Gear, you gotta do Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. Now, I just want to give my brief thoughts on this. And I'm not going to 100% lie and say, and not deny the post I made on Instagram whenever right after Adam Copeland had his last match in WWE against Sheamus, and the rumors swirled about him going to AEW when his contract expired at the end of September. And he even came out, had this video, and said, there's nothing going on with me in WWE. There's a contract extension in my inbox. It's more so just me deciding what's next. And he even mentioned, too, in his promo last night, he mentioned, too, retirement was definitely in there. Here's what I said in the previous post on Instagram. I said that I don't think Edge should go to AEW. And the reason why was, if Adam Copeland would not have gotten cleared by WWE in 2020, he was offered a contract with AEW. He would have gone there then. That I would have taken. That I think I would. Let's put this in perspective. Am I mad Edge went to AEW? I'm not. But it's more a thing of like, fans looking in the mind. Yes, I know there's all the fresh competition. And that's why I am excited about Edge. I'm sorry, gotta get used to this. That's why I'm excited about Adam Copeland being in AEW. There's so many fresh matches. He doesn't feel he's done. His daughters even told him to go have some fun with Uncle Jay. And his goal now is to finish his career, for him and Christian to finish their careers together. Write that last chapter together. And probably retire as a tag team, which would be cool. Again, that's why I'm happy. I guess, again, my comments all came from the heart. It's with the mind, I think this is awesome. In the heart, I'm like, it's not quite how I think it should end. Because, again, he's a lifer, a WWE lifer. Well, technically not anymore, but he's a Hall of Famer in WWE. Everything for him happened in WWE. His whole career. The best work of his career. His comeback. One of the comebacks we never thought would happen was with him coming back from triple fusion neck surgery. And 9 years later, he came back. I know there was the rumors for months about the Rumble in 2020. But of course, when he actually for real came back, I went nuts. Because again, Adam Copeland is someone I did not get to experience. I only started watching wrestling in 2013. And I think my thing was the reason why I didn't think he should go to AEW, saying that the ship had sailed with that, was because, one, Christian's a heel. I felt that if they should have reunited, it should have been in WWE. But WWE was not going to give Christian that shot. I mean, yes, they let him wrestle in the Rumble a month before he left for AEW, but they weren't going to give Christian the same shot that they were going to give Edge. So I thought, okay, if they reunited, Christian should be a babyface. But right now, he's too good of a heel that they can't turn him heel yet. I mean, they planted the seeds for him to turn face eventually to reunite with Adam Copeland and be a tag team, and then, of course, end their careers as a tag team. Probably get around the tag titles. But also, too, even though, okay, When Edge first came back in 2020, there were rumors after he got hurt against Randy Orton at Backlash that they were going to do the third match with them for the world title at WrestleMania the following year, at WrestleMania 37. Because people thought this was going to happen whenever Randy Orton briefly won the title when he dethroned Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell 2020. Which I didn't think was the best idea. But with the proper story, you should have thrown the world title back on Edge one last time before he left. I really think that was a huge missed opportunity. I mean, him winning the AEW world title would not feel like the same as winning the WWE title. Because again, the world heavyweight title is the title he never lost. And him to regain that back, I think, would to me would feel more full circle him winning just a random new title, the AEW world title. Just my opinion. Plus two, that his last match with Sheamus was just absolutely, like the moment was, if there was a moment for him to go out, in his hometown also, that was the perfect way to go out. But again, and again, with the heart, that's why I felt he should not have left for AEW. That's why I thought he could have, if he had no intention, because, I mean, I'll be honest too, other than him winning the world title, there was really nothing else left for him to do in WWE. Because you remember, when he got drafted to SmackDown, I'm like, oh cool, Edge is back on SmackDown. Wait a minute, though. Who's there for him to work with, though? You know, like, there really was nobody for him to work on SmackDown. But again, like, he even said it too. Simple as that. He felt like, everything had been done in WWE. He wasn't ready to be done yet. So he went to AEW for all the fresh matches. And he's right. Again, that's the reason why I am excited. Like I said, I just felt like since he made the comeback to WWE, that's where he should have finished. Which is why I'm hoping that I don't think he'll ever wrestle another match in WWE. But when he officially retires, he gets some sort of recognition in WWE. Like some sort of like retirement segment. To come full circle. Just my opinion. I mean, his wrestling career is going to finish in AEW. But I think he deserves some sort of like retirement thing. Because there's no heat with him in WWE. People are happy for him in WWE for what he said. For what he has said. Like I said, I think again, even though again the reason why I feel like he should have ended it in WWE since he had the opportunity to do it. Again, if he's not done yet, he can go to AEW and wrestle a lot more fresh matches. A lot more dream matches that we all want to see. So yeah, it's kind of like a new character, but I mean, he's basically being himself. He's basically still the rated R superstar, just going by his actual name and not Edge. So again, I am happy for him. I'm not going to crap on him for this. Like I said, I just with the heart, I just felt like the right ending was right there. But all power to him. I think he will do great in AEW. I do think also this is going to be like the healing that AEW needs because it didn't work out with CM Punk. So I think that this could be the potential move AEW needed to help get them back on track and recover from the loss of CM Punk. So we will see what happens with Adam Copeland, rated R superstar Adam Copeland in AEW, who still, of course, has Metalangus, but of course the You Think You Know Me is a little different. And apparently was recorded by his own wife, Beth Phoenix. Maybe someday also when she's no longer under contract with WWE, maybe we can see Beth get another match in AEW. We'll see though. We will see. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Adam Copeland being all elite. Also, excuse the long pauses, because that's where, because like I said later, when I separate these out into different videos, that's where basically I having like a reasonable spot to cut it off at. So, excuse that. But any thoughts on that topic before we get to the final topic? Robbie saying the scarf of Rogero. Yes, because of my MJF impersonation. Mark says, I'm surprised they let him use his entrance music and his nickname. Yeah, I mean, well, the entrance music, Alter Bridge owns. WWE doesn't. So he could use that. He just had to, I think, change up the You Think You Know Me. But yeah, the Rated R Superstar part, I'm surprised as well. I'm sorry, Tyler, I respect your opinions, Tyler, but I don't think Edge sold out. I don't think he did it. Again, he still wanted to keep going. There was nothing left for him to really do. But again, just my opinion. You can have yours. I totally respect it, Tyler. But that's really all that's left. And now let's get on to the main event of this Triple Threat live stream. We are now here to talk about my WWE Fastlane 2023 preview and predictions. And this show is taking place tomorrow, October 7th, 2023 in Indianapolis, Indiana. I also wanted to thank you all, guys, as my Fastlane predicted match card, thumbs up in views. It broke 1,000 views, which I liked. I mean, I missed the days where all my match cards are getting like 8 to 10,000, some like 20,000. The most I ever got on a match card was like 40,000, which was my Roadblock end of the line match card. And a few others reached the 30,000. So again, the views ever since like mid 2017, the views on my match cards were down. That's another reason why I again stopped doing them in 2021. But again, with me going full-fledged booking to 2,000, I wanted to bring them back and see what they did. Couple hundred of views. Like the only one that didn't really do well was the Night of Champions one. Well, on TikTok, that one got a lot of views. But the Fastlane ones are doing really well. Did really well. So I hope those continue to improve. As far as my thoughts, so I almost waited until after SmackDown tonight to do these. But again, I don't know how tired I'm going to get, and I am pretty busy tomorrow. So I won't have time to do this tomorrow. So I thought I'd do them tonight. It's a 5-match card, which these smaller cards I like. We don't need like 12 matches, like 10 to 12 matches for every single pay-per-view. Like WrestleMania can be like 10 matches if they want. SummerSlam like 8 to 10. Like these cards are being set up now like how NXT takeovers were when Triple H was in full control of NXT. The problem I have with this card, though, is all the 5 matches have a purpose, but most of them are tag matches. We only have one singles match, one-on-one, and that's the most likely main event, which I think you would think the last man standing match would be the main event. But I also feel there's a chance, John Cena and LA Knight could main event also. There's a chance, I think. The women's title match, I'm not too sure how I feel about that one. The tag title match is a little random. I am interested, of course, in the LWO and Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Although, I don't know who... I'm predicting the Legado del Fantasma members will be the 3 in that match. But there is another trio involving the LWO and someone else that I think they've teased to be called up also. I forgot to mention his name earlier in the stream. That I think I would have loved to have seen Ben in this match to make it even more interesting. So... let's roll into and talk about it, because it could still be a good show. I think all five of these matches, which maybe more, who knows, but I don't think, I thought maybe we were going to get Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. That wasn't announced on Raw. It probably would have been announced by now if it was going to happen. And I don't know what else is on SmackDown that could be happening on this show too. But we'll see. So, 5 matches. I'm going to pick them again in order as I normally would. So I think what will open the show is this tag title match with Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest, which, of course, Damian Priest is also Senor Money in the Bank. He's been decent as Mr. Money in the Bank, but I still feel like he's not quite ready yet to cash in. He's getting there, but not quite. Even though, I'll talk about in the main event, there was something that was said on Raw, though, that kind of stood out to me, that thinks it may happen on this show. But I still wouldn't say not yet. But they're taking on the team of Cody Rhodes and main event Jey Uso. Mr. Just Me Uso. Day one is just me, Uso. Day one is just me, Uso. I do love his new modified theme. I do gotta download it. And his chant also. But I do believe this match will be good. I do think it can be good. Again, all 4 of these guys are talented. It's just, again, I'm not still fully digging the Judgment Day being, the new, big thing on Raw. Because as I keep saying, they had too many big opportunities where they should have won that they didn't. And like I keep saying, it's hurt my thing. Even though I've been for it and I'm glad it's given him something to do, even the stuff with JD McDonough joining the Judgment Day, I feel like that really hasn't gotten into another gear yet. And that's even starting to drag a little bit, in my opinion. They keep teasing these breakups. Dom basically got threatened to not come home unless he brought back the North American title, which he did. But again, it's just it's just so back and forth. And to me, it's just not as interesting anymore. And how many more times are we going to see Cody Rhodes fight the Judgment Day? I feel like this match was only done just to get Cody Rhodes in a match on this pay-per-view. Because he didn't wrestle in the last one. He was just had a random Grayson Waller segment where he brought in Jey Uso. Which, okay, yes. But also, even too, as I worried, since SummerSlam, it just feels like they're just stalling with Cody. We know the end goal. I mean, he got past Brock Lesnar. He was acknowledged by Brock Lesnar. And we know this move to bring Jey Uso over to Raw was so that Cody can go to SmackDown. And this BS where Adam Pearce is saying that they don't know yet who's going to SmackDown. He said it on, I think it was not this past week, the week before, he said it on Raw. That is complete BS. We know the whole reason why Cody did this. So he can get to SmackDown. And get another shot at Roman. Also, why are both Cody and Jey going to be on SmackDown tonight? I mean, yes, I get the Judgment Day, but why should Cody and Jey be there? What I would do in this match, newsflash, Judgment Day are retaining. I don't see them putting the belts on Cody and Jey. But I think what's going to happen is this is kind of like the thing where we keep them apart for a little bit, but here and there they run into each other. I think Jimmy is going to help the Judgment Day win this match, and Jay's going to take the pin. We could see that happen. We could see, because Survivor Series is next month. I don't know if they're going to do War Games. I keep hearing now that they are. Or they're going to be doing Raw versus SmackDown, which I'd rather do Raw versus SmackDown. No, not that. I'd rather do War Games, of course. somehow, some way, because they asked Jimmy recently about joining Judgment Day. And I mean, even though the Bloodline, this stuff, I keep saying, the stuff with Jimmy Uso on SmackDown, they are just so overcomplicating it. And I keep saying it. It's a story that should be working, but every week it just feels like that they're exposing more and more plot holes of this. Like, okay, he thinks he's the tribal chief. Well, one week the Bloodline's acting like they trust him, but in the following week, they don't trust him. So my thing is while the Bloodline are still trying to figure out if they still trust Jimmy or not, I think they should have Jimmy Uso, if they want to have a 5-on-5 and do like Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and maybe Drew McIntyre or something, I don't know, and have them take on the Judgment Day, which you can do Dom, Finn, Damian, and JD. Have Jimmy be the 5th member. Have that be another time where they collide in there. So I think that's what this match is more so going to set up. Have Jimmy cost Jay the match. Even though, like I said again, I don't get why Cody and Jay are able to appear on SmackDown. Once again, why can't we just get to the point and have Cody go to SmackDown? Because like I said, Cody's plans up until the Rumble is just going to be dragged out. It really is dragged out, for sure. Because all he's fighting is the stinking Judgment Day. Now, there are hardcore teasing a match with him and Drew McIntyre. Maybe we'll get that at Crown Jewel. Because if we do War Games, I think Drew will be teaming with them. I could see. And maybe, because again, I think, well, I'll get to the rest of my Survivor Series, another Survivor Series prediction later on in this part of the stream. But yeah, Judgment Day's retaining, and I think it'll be because Jimmy attacks Jay, and then Jay eats the pin. I think that's where they're going with it. So that's that match. The second match on this card, I think it will happen, is the LWO versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. This is purely a match just to give more momentum to Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. But now, I think it would make more sense to just have the 3 members of Legado del Fantasma, which is Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro, fight in this match, in my opinion. Even though I would still like this to somehow continue on the continued possible tease of Santos Escobar going heel and him getting another match with Rey, because I don't think they're done yet. I feel like they could have an even, like the first 2 matches they've had. The first one was meh. The last one they had on SmackDown last week was good. They could still have that full-out Luchador Classic still. However, though, the 3 that I wish they were having fight in this match is Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Dragon Lee. Again, I think Dragon Lee is another person who is main roster ready. And they had him be at ringside, and they teased him trying to get in there to help the LWO. But they wouldn't let him. So I'm saying, no offense to Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, but I think the 3 bigger names that need to be in this match are Rey, Santos, and Dragon. But either way, whoever is in the match, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are winning this. Again, I love this new group. Again, I know they're basically Hurt Business 2.0, or whatever they want to call them. But to me, if they're going to have a substitute for Cedric and Sheldon, I think Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits work well. And the Street Profits, I think, need this heel turn. Again, I know people want that Montez Ford singles run. And trust me, I've wanted it too ever since he had that breakout performance in the Elimination Chamber earlier this year, in that U.S. title Elimination Chamber match, which he was the star of that match. I still think the Street Profits, as a team, deserve to be elevated more and deserve to be recognized as a Hall of Fame tag team. So yes, give them a run as a heel. Give them another run or two with the tag titles. Heck, if they want to have DIY dethrone Judgment Day, have the Street Profits dethrone DIY. That's another match I didn't mention earlier whenever someone in the live chat mentioned about DIY reuniting. I should have mentioned that one. DIY and the Street Profits. Did we get that in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic? I can't remember. But that would be an awesome match. So this match will be good. But again, this is more so just to get Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits more momentum. But it'll be good. And again, there could be something there that could tease some tension with Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. So, we'll see where it goes. So there's that match. And then the next match is probably the match I'm not as interested in, which is this triple threat match for the Women's Championship. Io Sky, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair. Why does Charlotte have to be in this match? I'm sorry, and no offense, but the few matches Charlotte has had since she had her WrestleMania Classic with Rhea Ripley have not been that good. I mean, I'm glad they didn't bring her back and just threw the title back on her. I thought they were going to do that at SummerSlam, but they didn't. But even here, why is she even in this match? I don't get why. I thought, and this is just my opinion, I felt they should have saved Io and Asuka for this match. The match they had on SmackDown last week was great. Get them on pay-per-view and they will have an even better match. And there's a reason to do a rematch too, because Bayley did help Io a little. There's a reason, because Asuka can say, you don't beat me one-on-one. If you wanted to do a triple threat here, you should have done Io, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Because despite the fact that Nia Jax came back, there are still rumors of Kairi Sane coming back, which is making me hopeful they're going to keep the belt on Io. I mean, you could put it on Asuka and do Asuka and Kairi, but you gotta do Io and Kairi. You gotta do Io and Kairi. Again, we were supposed to get that match at NXT TakeOver Toronto in 2019, which is the whole reason why that Io, the plan was always for Io to turn heel that year and have her feud with Kairi. But of course, those plans got scrapped whenever Kairi got called up. Which is why they did Io and Candice instead that year, which was also a great match. Definitely their best match they did. But you gotta do Io and Kairi if Kairi does come back. Now, as far as who wins this match, I would still say the safest bet for me to say is Charlotte. Because I'm sure they want to throw the belt on Charlotte. Heck, they could probably throw it on Charlotte just for her to drop it right back to Io or something. I don't know. But with the rumors of Kairi looming, of her coming back, I still think there's a chance they keep the belt on Io. I'm afraid they're going to put it on Charlotte, but I'm thinking with the rumors of Kairi coming back, there is more and more of a chance I'm feeling a little more confident that Io may retain here. Probably by pinning Asuka, but, you still have to do that one-on-one. But like I said, if you want to do Io, Kairi, and Asuka in a triple threat, all power to you. That would be awesome. But you gotta do, if she comes back, you gotta do Io and Kairi, and you also gotta do Kairi and Asuka also one-on-one. Those are all dream matches. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Again, the triple threat at SummerSlam with Bianca, Charlotte and Asuka, something was off in that match. So I'm hoping it doesn't happen again here, but we'll see. 2 more matches left. Here's the first match I think could possibly main event the show. This tag match with John Cena and LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Now, again, I think it's very obvious that John Cena and LA Knight is going to win this. Even though I don't like that Jimmy hasn't really won much since he turned heel. But I still think him even winning here is going to do nothing. Because the people who need to win more is LA Knight and John Cena. And not John Cena, LA Knight. Even though Cena's in this match, LA Knight needs to be the one to get the pin. He gets the winning pin. Because even though they teased also AJ Styles, it's obvious that either at Survivor Series or at Crown Jewel, they're going to do Roman Reigns and LA Knight. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. Okay, either Crown Jewel or Survivor Series, they're going to do LA Knight and Roman Reigns. I also think that they're going to do AJ Styles and Roman Reigns at the other one, because they had AJ get involved in the Bloodline. I also, though, think there's a chance, even if it's War Games, I still think there is a chance we could get one Raw versus SmackDown match at Survivor Series, and that is Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. I think there's a chance that match could happen at Survivor Series. If that happens, I will be okay with that, even though we've seen it again how many times. But I think with the circumstances, I think there's a chance we could see that. But either way, this will be a good match. The whole point of it, though, is for LA Knight to get over, and he gets an opportunity at Roman Reigns at either Crown Jewel or Survivor Series. I'm going to say Crown Jewel. I'm going to predict it happening. So that's all really this is for. And to get John Cena a pay-per-view match. Because he's still going to be around for a bit. So, but this could main event the show. I won't be upset, especially if LA Knight main events the show and wins. That'd be a really nice rub for him. And he'll get a shot with Roman. I don't think he's going to beat Roman. But at least they're showing the faith in him to put on main event matches. And then finally, the match that I think should main event is the World Heavyweight title match with Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura, last man standing. Now, I'm not going to lie, because I've said it in recent Raw reviews. I have kind of lost a little bit of interest in this feud since the Payback match. Because although it was good, I don't like that Nakamura lost to a curb stomp. Because again, the whole story, which again, the elements of the story, everything involving like the vignettes with Nakamura and whatnot, like this new character he's had since he turned heel, I've loved. But I'm worried that they're not going to capitalize. And because I think Seth's going to retain. But the thing is also, as I keep saying, is I just feel like, again, the story about Seth's back is awesome. Is a great, is a great way to make Nakamura look dangerous. And they're trying to, again, I think what would have helped me get a little more invested in this is if Seth didn't hit the curb stop on Nakamura at Payback. He snuck it in, but Nakamura still did attack the back. But they're making it seem like that, again, the back of Seth Rollins is like his Achilles heel. But yet he's been hit there and it just wounds him rather than breaks him. So I feel like the back is not as big of an Achilles heel. Like, I believe he's injured. But I think that, like, again, the whole story is Nakamura played Seth, saying that he admires his stamina. But he knows he's not going to beat Seth by pinfall or submission. If he really wants to hurt the back even more, he's got to literally beat him so bad he can't stand up. And that's even why I even predicted a few weeks ago my car predictions, last man standing. It makes the most sense. It makes the most sense. And again, this should be a match this match to me is calling for Shinsuke Nakamura to win. I think just the problem I have is I gotta stop dreaming and hoping that they have Shinsuke Nakamura reach the levels in NXT. I just don't think it's gonna happen again. I don't. I just think it's too late to completely save him. So I think Seth's gonna retain. I would love to see Nakamura win this, because that's really like I know Seth has been mentioning he's considered taking time off to get his back fixed. And again, this is the perfect way to do it. Nakamura is this aggressive mind game playing heel. And to make him look even more like a superstar, I really think this is the match that need to capitalize and give him the title belt. But I still don't think it's going to happen. I really, really, really still think that Seth's going to retain somehow. I really think it's going to happen. Now, though, as far as a cash-in goes, I still want to say not yet. But the only reason why I can see there being a possible cash-in is because of that segment on Raw this past week where Rhea Ripley first basically gave the judge a piece of her mind for basically, not doing their jobs well while she was away when Nia Jax put her out to injury. But she made some comment like there's no true leader of Judgment Day. And I heard that, I'm like, is that a tease that Damian Priest is going to cash in, win the world title, and he's going to believe he is the leader? So I would say there could be a chance. If I have it my way, though, I would say not yet. When I would do it, I would say if Survivor Series, they would do Roman and Seth. I would say have Seth win the match. It'd be okay because Roman wouldn't lose his title. But Seth win the match because Seth has Roman's number and proved to be the better champion. But after that, have Damian cash in on Seth. Because I think Damian's done solid as Mr. Money in the Bank. But I just still think he needs just a little more time before he can cash in. So I'm gonna go to safe route. Again, as badly as I want Shinsuke to win this match, I think Seth is going to win. And maybe a cash in, but I still think not yet. Not yet. And that, guys, is my WWE Fastlane 2023 preview and predictions. Just to go over my my thoughts again. Again, I think Judgment Day will retain the tag titles because Jimmy Uso will interfere with Jay, and this will set up War Games. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits will beat the LWO, and even though I think it will be Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde wrestling the match, I still kind of wish it was Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Dragon Lee. I'm worried Charlotte's going to win the title in the triple threat with Io, Asuka, and Charlotte. But I still think with the teases of the rumors of Kyrie coming in, I still think I'm a little more confident there is a chance Io can retain. John Cena and LA Knight will beat Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. I think LA Knight, though, should also get the pin so he can get the big rub. And I think Seth Rollins will retain in the last man standing match and possibly get cashed in on. Is what I think could happen. Let's check the live chat here, and then we're going to get out of here. I've been live for almost double the time I thought I would be live for. Has Seth even ever been in a last man standing match until now? I don't think he has. Yeah, unless it was a random one on Raw, I don't think he's ever been in one. When do you think we'll see Jade Cargill make her debut? I don't know, because I thought she would go to NXT and she would debut and be the one to dethrone Becky Lynch. But now I'm hearing rumors that she's going to be on Raw. So I don't know who she'll fight on Raw. But it probably will be soon. Tyler also thinks that Io has done nothing as champion worse than Rhea. Again, though, it's not their fault, though. They both have not been booked well as champion. Even though I feel like Io's had the better title reign because Rhea's barely wrestled anybody. Then again, Io hasn't really wrestled much either. I mean, she's only had just one match against Asuka, which was great. But I don't know, like I said, it's just the booking in the women's division. But I think I'm going to call it a stream. Again, it's been a great stream. Long, triple threat. Like I said, I am going to take each three of those topics, the releases, the Adam Copeland going to AEW stuff, and the Fastlane preview predictions. I'm going to make them 3 separate videos. The stream will still be here, but just take those excerpts and make them 3 separate videos. Now, of course, if I did talk longer, I may not get the other stuff done. But I'm hoping I do have 2 other topic videos I want to do. And I have some shorts coming. And I also have the Roller Coaster Tycoon Millennium Mines Let's Play to edit. And I still got to do the last part of episode 6 of Wolf Bell 1. So hopefully within the next few days, though, those will be coming. Until then, though, guys, thank you all for joining me live for this triple threat special live stream. What are your guys' thoughts again on all the topics discussed? Again, the releases, Adam Copeland going to AEW, which not going to talk about AEW again for a while. Who knows when, but I at least had to talk about that. And again, I wish Adam Copeland the best of luck. And all the releases their best in their future endeavors. And again, what are your thoughts also for Fastlane as well? What are your predictions? Do you think it'll be a great show? Do you think any more matches will be added to it? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video. And subscribe for more content to come on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at TheClubOfTheMan93. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at TheClubOfTheMan1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy SmackDown tonight. Enjoy Fastlane this weekend. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion. That is a fact of life. Yeah!